I am back and better than ever.
1, 2, 3, My baby don't mess around because she loves me so, and this I know for sure.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, finally. If you're new here, my name is Nethra and yes, I am still alive. I haven't posted a video since like July 4th because it was my July 4th makeup tutorial, but here we are. I'm sitting by my lovely bookshelves, which are organized by color. I really wanted to have my bookshelves in the back of this video, in the background of this video, because I thought it'd be really cute. Because today we are doing a book-related video. I know probably no one cares that I read, but anyway, today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 favorite books that I read in 2018. So let me preface this by saying that I did not read a whole lot in 2018. So I read 20 books in total this year. I'm gonna be breaking down my 5 favorite books that I read this year. Like I said, I only read 20 books, so I don't have a lot to choose from, but I did have a pretty good reading year. 4 out of these 5 books are 5-star reads. I only had 4 5-star reads this year, but I still think that's pretty good, and one of them is a 4-star read. So how I'm going to be doing this is my number 5 pick is like my least favorite of my favorites, and then my number 1 is my absolute favorite. 2018 was like a pretty long year, not gonna lie. Some of these books, it feels like I read them like 5 years ago, because 2018 has been a long year. But anyway, okay, I'm out of focus. Love that. Okay, anyway, let's kick off our list with number 5. For my number 5 pick, I have To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. I don't know how you pronounce it. But this is essentially a Little Mermaid retelling with sirens. So I haven't read this, it's been a long time since I read this, but I really enjoyed it. I'm not gonna say really, because like, in my last year's December wrap-up, I said the word really so many times, like I'm so annoying. Anyway, so basically this book is about a siren named Lyra, who is siren royalty, you go girl, and the sea queen, like she does something which ends up in the death of like one of the sirens, so the sea queen punishes her by turning her into a human, and she basically has to take the prince's heart, the prince of like this island kingdom place, like she has to take his heart by like the eclipse or something like that. She has to take his heart by then, otherwise she's destined to be a human forever. So this is kind of like a Little Mermaid retelling with Ariel, you know, because Ariel wants to be human, and then Ursula and all that, you know what the Little Mermaid is about. But this has a more sinister twist to it, and I absolutely loved this book. I was actually really surprised by this book because I didn't think I was gonna like it, but it really surprised me, and yeah, I thought the characters were really well developed, they were flawed, and they had a lot of character growth throughout the novel. So yeah, I thought this was a really complex story that had really complex characters. So I gave this 4 stars, and this was my 5th favorite book of this year. So my 4th favorite book that I read in 2018 is A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. This is the 2nd book in the Ember and the Ashes series. What this book is about, so let me start with the first one, because, okay, my books just fell. Because I can't really explain the 2nd book without giving away spoilers, so I'll just I'll just tell you what the first book is about, and then we'll go from there. So, An Ember in the Ashes is a fantasy novel kind of based on the Roman Empire. So we have Leigh, who is this beautiful girl right here. She lives with her grandparents and her brother, and they're kind of like low-class citizens-ish. And one night her house is raided by the Martial Empire by these masks. That's like weird to say, masks. Masks are like the soldiers of the Martial Empire, and they raid her house and they kill her grandparents and they arrest her brother for treason. So Leigh's like on the run, she doesn't know what to do, she doesn't have family. So in order to find out why her brother was arrested. To save her brother, she goes undercover at this like academy, the Blackcliff Academy, which is where the Martial Empire trains masks. And that's where she meets Elias, who is like one of the most powerful masks that they're training. Like, he's one of the strongest people there. So that is essentially the premise of this book. And I read An Ember in the Ashes and I liked it, but I thought it was a little bit overhyped. So I was like, okay, I mean, I'm gonna continue on with the series, but I wasn't wowed by the first book, even though I thought I was going to be. And then I picked up A Torch Against the Night, and wow, I absolutely loved this second installment in the series. It's not very often that I like a second book more than a first book. Yeah, I thought Sabaa Tahir's writing was amazing, the story was amazing, and I think maybe the reason I liked this, but I don't know if this is a spoiler. Okay, I'm not gonna say anything, but I'll just say one thing. There is an added perspective in this novel. So in the first book, there are only two perspectives, Leigh and Elias, and in this novel there is a third perspective that I absolutely loved. That third perspective, I thought it was much needed for this novel, so yeah, I really liked A Torch Against the Night. Okay, so my third favorite book of 2018 is the one is the most recent book I finished reading, and that is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I just finished reading this yesterday, and I absolutely love it. It is so action-packed, and the story is so unique. Every time someone asks me what this book is about, I just say that it's about superheroes, because really, it is about superheroes, and I feel like that's all you really need to know. Like, that should make you want to pick it up immediately, so that's really all you need to know. But if you want a more in-depth summary of this book, basically in this world you have people who are prodigies, which basically means that they have superpowers. And then you have these renegades, which is this group of prodigies that are like the law enforcement people. They stop crime, they help civilians, stuff like that. And then you have this other small group of prodigies known as the anarchists, and they're totally against everything that the renegades stand for. They don't like the renegades. And our main character, Nova, is an anarchist, and our other main character, Adrian, is a renegade. So that's kind of all I really want to say, because I think you should read this book and find out what it's about by yourself. But I absolutely loved this book. It's so action-packed. It feels like you're watching a movie while you're reading this, and I would love if this became a movie. And I just think that if you really like action-packed books, then you will definitely love this book. And the runner-up for Best Book of 2018 is Carry On by Rowell. Guys, I love this book. I literally love this book so much. Okay, this is kind of meta, but Fangirl is another book by Rowell, and in that book, her main character, Kath, is obsessed with this book series that's like a Harry Potter type of series, and Kath writes fan fiction for that series called Carry On, Simon Snow. So Carry On is what Rowell thinks Kath's fan fiction would be. Does that make sense? Essentially, Carry On is basically a spoof of Harry Potter. We have Simon Snow right here, who is the worst chosen one in the history of chosen ones. And he has to fight this evil called the Insidious Humdrum. There are vampires in this book, there's magic, of course, there's beautiful romance with Baz right here. That's not a spoiler, I mean, we all know. Simon and Baz. Literally, my everything. This book made me feel all the emotions. I was crying on one page, then laughing on the next. I absolutely loved it. Oh my gosh, it is so good. And anytime I feel down and I feel like lonely and I feel upset, I pick up this book and I go to one of my tabs right here. I've tabbed my favorite moments from this book, and I just open it and I read one of those moments, and my heart just like fills with love and joy and happiness, and I love this book so much. You don't need to read Fangirl before you read this. I did, but you definitely don't need to read Fangirl before you read this. in all honesty, I would skip Fangirl altogether because I was actually disappointed by that book, but that's for another video. But just read Carry On. Just read Carry On because it's so good. Okay, listen. My number one book. This is a book that is very popular among a lot of people. It is very well loved, and I understand that, and I know that I'm basic because it is my favorite book of all time. And I know that that's basic. Like, I get it, but still, I don't care. I mean, I absolutely love this book. Okay, without further ado, my number one best book of 2018 and my favorite book of all time as of right now when I'm filming this, Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Okay, listen. I know, it's basic, but when I tell you that I love this book, like, I love it so much, I might start crying. I want to read it again, like right now. This book literally has crushed me and brought me back to life and crushed me again. And I absolutely love it. Like, thank you. Thank you, Leigh Bardugo, for this masterpiece. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling and actually tell you what this book is about and tell you why I loved it. So this is the collector's edition. I literally bought the special collector's edition. So Six of Crows is actually part of a duology. You have the first book, Six of Crows, the second book, Crooked Kingdom. And I would have put Crooked Kingdom as my number 4 pick because, I mean, come on. But I decided that that was a little bit repetitive and that I would just put them collectively as my number 1. Basically what this series is about, you have these 6 characters that go on an impossible heist. That's all I'm gonna say because that should be enough to get you to read it. This takes place in the beautiful, magical, fantastical Grisha-verse, and so of course there is magic and there's all that stuff, but at its core it's about this impossible heist, and it is gritty and it is dark and it is funny but also really sad and really dark. Like, that's the word I could say. It's a really dark book, not gonna lie, but I absolutely love it. I think the main thing that I love about this book, about this series I should say, the characters. Like, the characters cannot be topped. Inej is literally my everything. This edition actually has these beautiful portraits of all the characters, of the 6 main characters at the back. You have Kaz and Inej, my babies. Okay. You have Kaz and Inej, my babies. Inej is literally my life. And okay, let me just give you a quick disclaimer. Let me pop my bubble for 2 seconds and say that this book was a little bit hard to understand, and it was pretty complicated at some parts because Leigh Bardugo like explains the Grisha verse in her original Grisha trilogy. I didn't personally read the Grisha trilogy before reading Six of Crows, but I did have to do research on the Grisha verse like while I was reading it because I was a little bit confused about like the magic system and like the political system and all that stuff, but it wasn't hard for me to like immerse myself in the story. Some people it is harder for, so I will give a little disclaimer about that. But other than that, I love this book so much, so yeah, this is definitely my number 1 pick of 2018. Okay, so those were my top 5 favorite books that I read in 2018. That was a lot. I feel like I just talked so much, but I love these books a lot, so hopefully I don't have too much footage to edit through, but you know, hopefully we can figure it out and this video isn't 40 minutes long. It feels so good to film a sit-down video after so long. I filmed like a few things. I filmed a few vlogs that I just never uploaded because, you know, sometimes it doesn't work out, and that's okay because I'm filming this right now, and hopefully since I'm on break right now, I can finish editing this and get it up. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I do plan on filming more videos, so hopefully that long hiatus that I took does not carry over into 2019. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!